Welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Ancora, and I'm here to bring you captivating stories from some of the most fascinating people I've connected with on my own journey of physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. So sit back, relax, and get ready to be inspired. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Wild Remedies podcast. Today, we are chatting with Money Coach Mike. I'm really excited to introduce Mike to you guys. I've been working with him for a few months on my own finances, and I absolutely love him. If you're a fan of this podcast, you know that we kind of talk about taboo things sometimes and exiting the matrix and systems and all of that stuff. And that is exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Now, this conversation might piss you off a little bit, and it absolutely should. We are going to be talking about government stuff. We're going to be talking about money systems and how the average person gives away over half of their money in their lifetime to the government. And as most folks know, the government doesn't really do a very good job of taking care of that money and providing us with the things that we should be getting back from that cash. And it might seem kind of weird to be talking about money and taxes on a wellness podcast, but money and wellness are super connected, right? Money affords us freedom, choice, ability to invest in ourselves, in our own health and wellness. And especially when we're in a situation like in Canada here, where our healthcare system is such a mess, right? And a lot of us are struggling with health issues because of things, again, because of the systems, because of all the toxicity in our food system and things like that in our environment. And we have subsidized healthcare for things that don't truly help us with our actual health, right? So the types of practitioners that we need to work with in order to make, progress in our health can be very expensive, right? So like we need that money in order to heal on lots of different levels. And the vast majority of people are stressed out about money all the time, like especially right now, right? When we're in a situation with all of this fake inflation and stuff. And we're going to get into all of that in the podcast. But people are stressed out, right? And stress creates issues with our health. It's one of the biggest drivers of dis-ease in the body. So Mike is absolutely amazing. I'm so grateful that I found him and have been able to work with him. You're going to get an insight into the sovereign way that we are doing business here at Wild Remedies and how we are working with people to make it so our company pays less taxes, so that people who work with us pay less taxes, all of these really cool tips. And so whether you are an employee right now, or whether you are an entrepreneur, there is amazing tips and medicine for you on both sides of the coin. So let's get into this episode with Mike Crofts, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Hi, I'm Maddie. Let me tell you a quick story of how I'm supporting my PCOS with Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte. First of all, I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, so you know I'm investing in finding long-term, sustainable approaches to wellness. Living with PCOS, when things are feeling a little out of balance, it's common for me to wake up groggy, have blood sugar crashes throughout the day, or become totally overwhelmed by daily stressors. My morning coffee was causing blood sugar spikes, anxiety, and tummy trouble, so I swapped it for Wild Remedies Spiced Chocolate Magic Latte about a year ago, and believe me when I tell you that the change has been insane. Each sachet has 3 servings of wild Siberian chaga, a powerful antioxidant-rich adaptogenic mushroom that helps to fight inflammation and fatigue and regulate the immune system. It tastes like a creamy hot chocolate with just a hint of spice, and it keeps my stomach calm. Since swapping, I feel more clarity and calm throughout the day, and my morning magic latte helps to set clear intentions for the rest of my day. I save 15% on my monthly subscription at wildremedieshop.com, and at $2.50 per serving, it's saving me a ton on Starbucks runs and supplement orders. Check out the links and promos in the show notes to get your own. Your adrenals will thank you.
Mike Crofts, welcome to the Wild Remedies podcast. I'm psyched to be talking to you today. How are you this morning?
Hey, blessed and grateful. I'm doing fantastic.
Yay! Well, some folks might be wondering, why are we having a conversation about money on a wellness podcast? But I mean, money is the energy that we all need in order to experience this world. That's the society that we live in. And so I think it's really closely tied to wellness, especially like our mental health, right? A lot of people are up at night stressing about money. And for me, I feel like a lot of that issue comes down to a lot of the money that exits our wallets through
Absolutely.
some of the systems that have been put in place.
Yes, the systems that are here to take your money.
Yeah.
Yes, I heard it once said, money is a lot like air. It's not until you don't have any till you realize, how much you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a healthy approach to money can really, it affects mental health, physical health, spiritual health. Um, Affects all those things. So if you can get your money dialed in, there's a good chance the rest of those things will get dialed in with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100%. I remember in my 20s when I used to have issues with money and just the amount of sleepless nights that I would have freaking out or like waking up in the middle of the night. And I mean, even as a business owner, obviously there's money constraints and things that pop up, and you still get woken up at like 4 a.m. sometimes being like, oh God, a little bit stressed out about that. But that's part of the spiritual process of entrepreneurship. I feel like that's something that I've had to work with over time and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I mean, as business owners too, though, a lot of us usually tolerate risk fairly well. And it's like, that's just the ride that I signed up for. I kind of love it, to be honest. But a lot of people don't, right? And they want to have consistency and they want to have safety. And I mean, that's just one of the basic human needs, right? Is to have feel safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so when you're stressed out about your bank account and whether you're going to pay your mortgage and all those things, especially in these times too, where, everybody's all stressed out about inflation and all of these things. And I think, it's been blamed on the war. It's been blamed on like all of these things, but it's like, these things are done purposely, right? There's people in the background that are like beat boot pushing a bunch of buttons that change all of these numbers. And it's done purposefully. Like this is happening to you because there are people in the background that are making this happen. And I think a lot of people don't understand that. And
and you can make a case that there's people that gain off of these things. I was actually watching someone yesterday talk about it. Let's just take, for example, the energy crisis.
Yeah.
Right? That we were all supposed to have this winter, and, some of us are, but it's like energy companies gain to profit off of that.
Yeah.
And they said, as long as, and we see it in medicine, we see it in the food chain. And the quote was, as long as people, can gain to profit off of this, there will always be a crisis in one of these areas.
Yeah, 100%. Was that the Russell Brand and Joe Rogan podcast?
No, it wasn't, but I'm sure it was on there. It was another one I was listening to, actually. It was a money podcast, but they don't usually go down that road, but they did. Anyways, they did.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, if you think about it, it's like anytime there is a crisis of some sort, there are really large corporations that are profiting off of it. And so they're going to want to extend those crises. They're going to want to create those crises, right?
Yeah.
Well,
and it was Russell Brand that said that, but it wasn't on Joe Rogan. He said it on another. I listened to like 3 different things yesterday.
Yeah.
But it was Russell Brand that actually said that. That's the one who said that, actually. I remember that now. It was him and on another podcast. But that's what he said. As long as people gain to profit from these crises, we'll continue to have crisis, and people are profiting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So today we're going to have a conversation about, so Mike and I are in Canada. So we're going to be speaking specifically. Yeah, we're going to be
Yeah.
speaking specifically to kind of like Canadian politics and systems and things. But I mean, it's still relatable to all over the
Oh,
world. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Especially, I mean, if you got a U.S. audience, some of the stuff we'll dive in today will work down there just like it works up here
Oh,
in
really?
Canada.
Okay.
Oh
Cool.
yeah, absolutely. In terms of in terms of you protecting yourself from paying into the system, the
Yeah.
way most people, as I call Canada, tax Canada,
Yeah.
most Canadians do. And anyways, yeah, so it can work in multiple systems around the world, but definitely for Canadians and U.S. Americans, it's very easy to implement, and there's a lot of things you can do about it.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. So for a big thing for me is like I've just always deeply felt this, and it's something that I've witnessed growing up too. Like I remember watching my dad just being like so exasperated.
Yeah,
And, we're from like, we're a blue collar family and, we're definitely like middle class, lower middle
yeah,
class for a while as I was growing up. And I remember him just being like, a fucking guy just can't get ahead, you
yeah.
know?
Oh
Like you're
yeah,
just
yeah.
taxed to death. Like just.
Yeah, all
And
your it's crazy. All your money, you work so hard, and you get to keep a little bit of it.
it's wild. And, I've structured my life in a way where I got into entrepreneurship in my mid 20s and struggled with like figuring out taxes and all of that in the beginning, but then actually ended up leaving the country for a while and
Yeah,
was in this really beautiful place where I was living like this laptop lifestyle. I was living in Malaysia for a while, and I was actually a Malaysian resident, so I was paying Malaysian taxes, which were nothing compared to what
yeah.
we pay in
Oh,
Canada.
yeah, yeah.
But then I was just kind of like a free bird. I cut ties with Canada. I didn't own any property or anything here. And I paid no taxes for like 3 or 4 years, just
Which was
traveling.
awesome, right?
It was so fucking dope. It was so
Yeah,
dope. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And I've actually have people who have been picking my brain recently and being like, hey, this is kind of something that I'd like to do too. Like, how do you do it? Right. And I'm like, well, there's lots of different ways, but like you really have to get creative sometimes with all these things, especially if you have laid down roots, if you own property in Canada. All of these things can kind of like, maybe not put you in the position to do something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, before we dive into all of that, why don't we just talk about your background a little bit and how you
Sure.
got into all the money stuff?
Yeah. So, like you, middle class. I would say lower middle class. For most of my adult or growing up, kid, teenager, early adult life. There was a period of time where we were so broke. We were what I call pitiful broke. And you say, well, what's pitiful broke? We were so broke that broke people had pity on us.
Hmm.
And a lot of those childhood experiences cultivated what I'm doing now. I got to the point in my life where I said, I don't ever want to have to worry about money again.
Hmm.
And not only do I not want to have to worry about money again, I don't want to have to worry about giving my money away to these governments and different things here that are, they say they're here to support us through a social system. But when you look at the actual numbers here, every dollar that goes in, it takes $5, it takes them borrowing $5 to get the actual dollar to do something. And so it's a big waste of money, big waste of time. So anyways, growing up, like you, entrepreneur, high school is where I started my first business. I was selling, and everyone's high school might be different, but in my high school, we had hall passes. Did you have that in your school? Did you ever have to do
Yeah,
hall
I
passes?
remember that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure it's changed a lot now. I'm sure the whole system's different now. But when I was in school, it was the start of the hall pass. And I was that classic kid that forgot their hall pass all the time, got in trouble, all that junk. So anyways, over the course of a little bit of time, my locker was full of hall passes. And people started coming to me to get hall passes for like $1, $2 a hall pass. Well, I got shut down by the powers to be in the school system really fast. But it was at that point I realized entrepreneurship, I liked it. The myth that you had to be great at school didn't work for me because I was not good at school. I was smart, but I was bored.
Yep.
And being bored in school, it could be disastrous.
Yep.
Right? Like I got it, and even my mom was like, "Why don't you just apply yourself a little harder?" I was like, "Why apply when I could go not study, do a test, get a C? It's okay, it's average. It's not a D, it's not an F, it's not an A, and I can spend my time doing the stuff I really want to do." And so back then we had a school system that if you didn't get A's and all that stuff, the myth of the time was go to school, get good grades so you could go to college and get a good job.
Yeah.
Right? And if you get a good job, you'll be taken care of. I didn't believe the myth, and it still is a myth because there's another piece of that. There's another piece of that myth that really matters is get a good job, make money, and you've got to have that money work for you. And when you're giving your money away in taxes, and when you're giving your money away in inflation, all that stuff, it's not working for you, and that's why most people stay broke. So, anyways, graduated from high school, started a bunch of businesses, traveled the world like you, traveled the whole world. Didn't leave Canada, but I wasn't in it very often. Started businesses that way. And then what I realized is in that endeavor, so I was playing music at the time. You've probably heard songs that I've written, top 40. We played stadiums. Like it was awesome. It was fun. But it was on that journey that I realized, yeah.
That's so dope.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I played all over the world. Actually, wow. I mean, if you want to go down conspiracy world, remember the last war with Russia and Ukraine? Like not the current one, but the last one that we kind of heard about remember that? I was there. Oh. And there was North America was telling a different story than what was actually going on. I'll just say that and we'll leave it there.
I'm sure.
Yeah. So I'll let all the conspiracy theorists rival on that one. But yeah, there was actually a lot of the Ukraine government was causing a lot of those problems. But anyways, it was on the road. I saw something happen. I saw a lot of people, because being a musician for a lot of people that's a dream. Like that, like as a kid, like that's what we want to do, a rock star and all this stuff. And I got on the road and I realized the road was a revolving door. And the revolving door was this: people who were broke, who were in debt, who didn't know how to manage money, lived their dream for about 2-3 months, and then have to go back home and work a 9-to-5 job because the road wouldn't support their dreams when they couldn't manage money well. Because believe it or not, like if you're at the top, you're making great money. Like if you're like a Keith Urban or you're set. But the majority of musicians, I'd say about 80%, are what we call gig musicians. So you're making an average income. 50, 60, 100, $1,000 type of thing a year, which is an okay income, but when you're not managing your money, that's not a lot of money to have on the road. So I saw this revolving door of musicians always leaving because of finances, and it was at that time that I said, I got to figure this stuff out because I don't want to give up on my dream because I can't financially get things together. And that's where the journey started. Started studying millionaires, talking to millionaires, trying to figure out how it all worked, and that journey started 14 years ago.
Okay.
So it's been 14 years of studying, talking, hanging out, doing, and seeing what actually works and what doesn't work. And it was in that journey I discovered the tax, what I'll call it the tax code. You can call it what you want in terms of how most business owners pay way more taxes than you need to. Like your dad there who worked hard, struggled, and probably gave half his income, if not more, to the government in the form of taxes. And so my goal now, we help people manage their money better, like get out of debt, get out of that. If you're paying 20%, that's bad debt, right? Like don't be giving Visa 20% on top of interest and all that. So we help people fix that. And then as I talk to you, we help people become millionaires. And it's not hard to become a millionaire. I'm going to throw something here that's either you're going to resonate with or it's going to cause you to stumble. I believe the government, and you have to choose one of two ways. Either purposely doesn't tell you this because they don't want you to be dependent on yourself. That's one way. Or if you don't believe that, you have to realize the government is stupid and doesn't know how to do this. And so that's why they're not telling you how to do this. It's one or the other.
Both. It's a mix of both.
A mix of both.
There's incompetency and there's like just diabolical, like evil.
Yeah.
In my mind.
When we sit down and teach people how to become, I'll sit down with parents. I'll say, you've got a 15-year-old kid. Get him investing. It's literally less than $50 a month right now. It's like, and we can do the math if you want later. Something like $35 to $40 a month for the rest of his life, and he will be a millionaire. $100 a month, he'll be a multi-millionaire. It takes me 20 minutes to show them this. Why isn't this taught in the school system?
Yeah. I know.
I taught how to go into debt in school. That's what they taught me how to do.
I mean, it's more important that we learn algebra.
Algebra.
Like, because I've
Discovery
so
math, as they call it now.
really? That's what they
Oh
call
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah. My kids are they're not in the public system anymore, but when they were, it was called Discovery math, and it was just bizarre.
Oh
Just
God.
stupid.
Yeah, we learned a lot of stuff. I mean, again, systems, right? The public school system. What are they teaching us? Really nothing to make us independent critical thinkers. That's for sure.
Yeah. You're taught to go to school, get good grades, so you can go to college, pay $100,000 to a school that's going to teach you liberal arts, that's not going to give you anything practical, to get a good job, work your whole life, pay taxes, save your RSP for Americans. That's your IRA.
Mm-hmm.
Die, the government takes half of that. Welcome to your system. Hope you enjoyed it.
Gross. All right. Well,
So,
it's time to exit. Time to exit.
yes.
Okay, first question I have for you though, before we get into that. We talked about this on a call that we had before, and I mean, not shocked because obviously we haven't had taxes forever, but like Canada used to be tax free.
Tax free. Yeah, before the war, and U.S. was the same, by the way. Okay, so the story in the U.S. the way and here's a very summed up. I'm not going to go through the whole history, but U.S. said to the Brits, "We don't want to drink your tea. We will create our own." Came over and created their own nation, United States of America. Used to be tax free, no tax. We don't want to pay the taxes to the Queen, so we created a tax free nation. Same with Canada. We came over here. Fed said there's no taxes. We'll leave the taxation up to the provinces. Now, provinces and states, provinces in Canada take care of roads, take care of healthcare, infrastructure, stuff like that, which I'm not opposed to paying taxes for that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I want nice roads. Yeah, I'll contribute. World War One happens. Okay, we enter the war, and it's now patriotic to pay taxes. Pay taxes to fund the war. This is whole patriotic campaign, and the promise at the time was taxes until the war's done, and then we'll go back to the way it was.
Okay.
Where are we today?
Yeah.
Never happened. Never went back. And I forget who said this quote here, but as soon as politicians get a taste for other people's money, they will never let it go again. And they haven't. We've seen taxes go up, up, up. We've seen governments restructure tax brackets. The rich pay their fair share and the poor get more. We've seen all this stuff happen, but taxes have never disappeared. And so we've got to find legal ways to give less money to the governments, because let's be honest, they're not doing a good job.
They abso-fucking-lutely are not, right?
They suck.
Yeah.
At it, and they know they do, but they still continue to take money from you because they've made it, they've made it legal.
Yeah.
To take your money. I really do believe if every day in the U.S., the IRS, or in Canada, the CRA, if they came to your door and knocked at your door and said, "Give me my fair share," there will be a tax revolution. But what they've done is they take it off your paycheck. It's quiet. It's unnoticeable. But if you had to physically give that money away, I guarantee you tax revolution would happen.
Yeah, absolutely. It reminds me of like Robin Hood, right? Where there used to be like the guy that would like go door to door and be like, he was a thug, right? This guy was a thug.
Mobster.
And that's exactly what the system is. Taxation is theft. Yes, like I think it's important to have municipal, government and
locally,
provincial. Roads are important. Schools are important. I mean, healthcare, that completely needs to be reformed. We basically have non-existent healthcare in Canada.
We have third world healthcare now.
It's insane. The fact that I even have to pay for it makes me fucking furious because I don't use it, right? I've exited that system.
Way.
I'm not on your
today.
subscription system anymore. Like I don't need you, right?
Yeah.
But then, so all of the, shitty healthcare, all of the allopathic stuff is like subsidized. But if I want to go and work with actual healthcare practitioners that understand health and can actually help me, I have to pay out of the nose for it, right? Like there's no subsidies there. because it's wrong or it's fake or it's, we don't believe in it. So it's just
since it's just so old and so slow, it doesn't catch up. It's not catching up with the times, right? That's another,
Well, it's funny because I was just doing some numbers recently here for a pitch deck, and it's like, what was it, 27% of people in North America, so this is Canada, in the US, don't even have a primary care physician, right? So you have people who can't even enter that system anymore, the medical system. And so people are going to be looking for alternative health solutions because everybody's sick, right? Everybody's got something. So I think that's going to start shifting a little bit too. So a lot of things were exposed recently. And I think there is, we are kind of part of this great awakening, and we are seeing a lot of corruption being unearthed right now. Like, it's really interesting right now in Canada. We're, finally getting all of this, stuff coming out about political interference from China and all of these things.
Yes.
This is stuff that we've known has been happening, right? But most people who are just watching their global news propaganda and whatever, they're just like, it's fine. Everything, whatever the government says is right. And they always have our best interests at hand. It's I think people are starting to see that is not the case. And so hopefully we can kind of start to have more conversations about this and start shifting what we're doing when it comes to money and taxes, because it's insane. We're funding fucking wars that we have nothing to do with, the people
we're giving money. Yeah. We're just sending money over to places like Ukraine and all these other places, and whatever, you can agree with it or not agree with it, but you got to, here's a lot of what I teach is believe it or not, a lot of people are probably not going to agree with this, is from scripture. What I learned in scripture, one of the main things, and this is so anti our current society, the scripture says you got to take care of your household first before you take care of anyone else.
Totally.
As a society, as a country, we're not doing that. We're taking care of other people, other countries, other wars, while us as a society, inflation erodes people's money.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. So why don't we talk about some of the ways that the government makes money off of us?
Get a pen and paper. There's too many to count. I'll give you guys a few. Okay, we'll give you guys a few. So let's start here. Obviously, taxes is one. And make money is a loose phrase because the government's broke. They got nothing. So take money would be a better phrase. Because it's not like they get the money and they're doing something with it. No, they get the money, they borrow a whole bunch of other money, and then they put it together and try and give you a social system that sucks. So taxes is a big one. So your income tax. If you own a home, you got property tax. If you buy anything in your country, you've probably got both federal and provincial, or federal and state. Great news about where I am, we only have one, which is federal. So we are taxed a little bit less on that aspect. But anyways, it's called sales tax. Okay? If you give money to a social system like a CPP or old age security, that's a tax. And people are like, what do you mean that's a tax? That's not a tax. When I retire, the government gives me my allowance every month. And maybe what I'll do is I'll give you some resources to send out to people that I'll do these examples and show you. So basically what happens is if you take the average person who gives to CPP from age 25 to 65, makes an average income 50, 60, 70K a year. And let's just say they max it out, which I don't know the exact number. I know it's about 5K, a bit more now because they just raised CPP taxes again. That's $5,000 a year. Let's just say for your whole working lifetime, age 25 to 65. So that's 40 years. If you invest $5,000 a year into an S&P 500 fund, that'd be you'd be a multimillionaire. So the government does that. The government takes that money and it's invested and it grows so that when you get to retirement, they can give you, right now, if you max it out, I think you're at like $1,300 a month. So you work your whole life, give the government all this money, they grow it and invest it, and then they say, oh, good faithful taxpayer, we'll give you $1,300 a month for the rest of your life. and then you die, and they keep it all. Nothing gets passed down to your kids or your family. So CPP is a tax, old age insecurity, as I call it, but old age security is a tax. If you invest in RSPs, you're going to pay a lot of taxes. And for a U.S. equivalent will be IRAs. Invest in IRAs, RSPs. Because what happens is, let's just say you do the stuff. We teach you to become a millionaire. You put into an RSP or an IRA. You do well. It grows to $1 million, $2 million. Every dollar you take out of that account is now taxed. And if you live in BC, Ontario, Taxifornia, New York, Chicago, like Illinois, like these heavy tax states, here's the kicker. When you die, let's just say you die and you don't use it all. Either way, you use it all, government gets half of it. You die and don't use it all and pass it on to your kids, it's taxed at, if you live in Ontario, 52%. Goes to the government before it even touches your kids.
It just makes me so angry.
So, I don't know how many I list there. Income tax, sales tax, property tax, CPP, OAS, RSPs, IRAs. So that's 5 off the top there. And then there's other taxes. We don't call it taxes, but there's other taxes out there. It's not called a tax. It's called a fee or a service fee or all this stuff, but it's taxes.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean,
So
it's just,
you live your whole life. You give probably more than half your money away in taxes. And when
Definitely.
I ask people, I'll ask people, what are the 2 biggest expenses in your life? Most people will get one of the 2, right? But here's what they are: taxes. Some will say debt, and that can be expensive. But here's the real second expense: not knowing how to take your money and not give it to your government is the second biggest expense you'll have in your whole life. Is not knowing how to do the stuff that we're teaching you guys to do, and we're teaching a lot of other people to do. Because if you don't know how to do that, you will give so much money away.
100%.
And people like it. Do you believe that there's people that actually love giving money to the government? They're called politicians. They actually believe they actually believe that they can handle your money better than you can handle it, and so they want
Seriously.
it.
I know there's like this whole thing where, like, you know, the elite class seems to think that everybody else in society is stupid, and that we don't have the ability or the faculty to be able to take care of ourselves. And what I find really frustrating, and it's why I'm always talking about the importance of like self-responsibility and sovereignty and all of these things. It's like, we need to become adults. We can't be a society that is like, please, mommy and daddy government, like govern me harder. You know, like it's so frustrating. I don't know where like this infantile, you know, type of mindset has come about in, I don't know how long it's been. Please tell me.
And it's called government indoctrination camps, aka public schools. I just went there.
Yeah,
I just went there. When I was in public school, and like you said, what do we actually learn that applies to real life? There's not much I remember that I use today. You know, maybe social skills was a great one. But what I do remember is I was in grade 10 math class. My teacher literally taught me how to go in debt and pay it back. Taught me how to pay my taxes. I'm not joking. This is grade 10 academic math. Sat there, and this is all I remember from math class in all of my high school. Teacher sitting there teaching me how to go borrow on a credit card, pay it back at 20%, borrow for a vacation, pay it back, borrow for a car, pay it back, pay my taxes. Literally. Pay my taxes. That's what I learned.
Wow.
And it was conditioned to believe and do.
This is crazy. I don't remember this in school. I don't know if I had this class. But it's funny. Like, I think some of us too just kind of have a different personality type, right? And are a little bit more rebellious and want to push again. Because like, I remember just even being in school and being like, why the fuck am I here? Like, I was really smart. I could get good grades. I mean, I was really good at like, oh, so you want me to memorize this thing and then spit it out on a piece of paper after? Like, I can 100% do that. Like, I will literally just read this book the night before. I will sleep. My brain will remember it. I will write it down on a
Yeah.
piece of paper the next day, and then I will forget the entire thing. Like,
Yeah, then you'll move
literally,
on from it, never remember it again. Yeah.
just how do I get through this nightmare? Like, I hated it. I was like, why do we have to have recess? Like, this long break that we have, like, can we just eliminate all this shit so we can get out of here early and like go and do something else? Right.
Yeah.
So people who question stuff, I think are, the folks like us that are asking the questions and want to see a different system or like do things to actually implement stuff that is different in life where there are a lot of folks that are just like, oh, well, that's just the way it is. But guys, we need to stop doing that. We need to take control back of our lives and
not be afraid to do it.
Yeah, 100%, right?
There's so much.
Yeah. Yeah, we need to start incorporating a little bit more bravery into our society. And I think a lot of that just comes down to human behavior, right? People don't want to, and I mean, we've seen that with what's just recently happened with the pandemic, right? Like,
the pandemic showed us something.
Yeah.
It showed us a lot of things we didn't believe we were still.
Yeah. Didn't it? Yeah, it was really quite horrifying. What a absolutely devastating social experiment that was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was brutal. My kids, when they were in public system, we would have these doctrination days. And some of them I was like, okay, I can get on side with this. One of the days was like anti-bullying day.
Mm-hmm.
So they call it pink shirt day. Everyone had to wear a pink shirt. I was like, okay, I can get this. I can get like, yeah, let's not bully each other.
Yeah.
And as a society, I think we thought we were there. And then COVID happened and we realized, oh, we are nowhere near there. How many people were bullied because of what they believed?
Yep. I was, for sure.
Yeah, I was, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think we realized we're not where we think or want to be.
No.
And people will fall in line if you scare them enough.
Well, see, and that's the thing, right? And what's really interesting now, too, is, I mean, these are things that some of us who were awake the entire time, we knew that this was happening. But we're kind of going through this unveiling process now. Like, I'm really into astrology and all of these things, and it's literally all lined up in the stars for all of these things to be revealed. And, just the other day, I saw somebody had posted something where screenshots of WhatsApp messages from government officials in the UK have been leaked now, where they're literally stating like, hey, how do we scare the bejesus out of people? Let's unleash the next variant. Like, this is how diabolical this shit was from the beginning. A lot of us knew, but now everybody's going to be waking up to this stuff, which feels very vindicating for someone who spent, 2 or 3 years holed up in their house because they weren't allowed in society, and realizing that this was the case and this is what was happening and nobody else was seeing it. Well, now that veil is being lifted. And in the next year or so, a lot more people are going to be coming online to what's truly happening here, which is why it's really important. Hopefully.
Yeah. Like, hopefully we just say, oh, whatever, move on, it's over. Like, hopefully we figure it out and learn from this.
Yeah,
I hope you were locked down way more than I was.
Oh, yeah, BC was, like, insane. I mean, at least it wasn't Vancouver, but Kelowna was still not.
Yeah, you're a little bit different in Kelowna, but yeah, like out here, and we still got the lockdown, but it was like the lockdown with the middle finger. The government, I remember the government came out one time and said, we know you're not going to listen to us, but here are the rules.
Really? Aww,
and Alberta said, the big F you, and we went and did what we did.
That's great.
But I know other provinces that didn't happen. People got locked down and stayed locked down. I was in Ontario for part of it, and I remember one Christmas dinner, literally, like, we weren't sure if people were going to call the cops on us because we didn't listen. We said, no, family's coming over.
Yeah.
Suck it. And we had, 15 people over when you're only supposed to have 2,
Oh my God.
And at the time, people were calling cops on their neighbors. So I said, guys, if the cops come, here's the plan.
Yeah.
Literally had a plan for if the cops came to our house because we were having family dinner.
Oh my God. I forgot about all that.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Trauma's coming back, right? Trauma's coming back. But that
Some
literally happens.
motherfuckers were calling cops on people for having family dinner. Do we remember that, people?
Yeah.
Never forget. We can't do that ever again.
Yeah. Or even worse, the propaganda machine, aka the government. I remember seeing YouTube ads of you were going to kill grandma if grandma came over during COVID.
Yeah.
I remember seeing that. I was like, what the hell is this?
It's wild. I know. It's so wild. It was so funny. And my grandma, actually, because Christmas last year, we had a whole debacle where some of the family members didn't want me and my sister coming over because we decided not to partake in the debacle. Yeah. And, but it was my grandma, right? It was all under the guise of like saving grandma. And my grandma was like, no, like, I don't care. I'm fine. Like, I got my vaccines, right? Like that should be, they told us that will save us, right? So, and that was the logic too. At the time I was like, y'all, like, are you not seeing the logic? Like your mommy and daddy government told you that if you get this, that you're not going to, contract the disease, but things have changed. That's so funny. The science has changed. Like, have you thought about that? And you could see them just kind of like, eye twitching a little bit, and the cognitive dissonance was just, really struggling to, take hold. But it was just, the hypocrisy and the craziness. Like, it was just absolutely mind-boggling to witness. And guys,
the science exchanged hands is what happened.
The science,
aka the money.
Yeah, of course.
The money is exchange hands. But to answer your question, government indoctrination camps, aka the public system, is where I think it was where your original question is, where a lot of this has been developed. And listen, I like education. I'm not knocking it, but I have noticed a lot of what we learn in education, A, is not necessary, but B, is kind of the zeitgeist of the day. The agenda of the day. And just looking at public systems right now, and you can see the agenda of the day.
Yep, absolutely. Well, and, one kind of cool thing too about everything that's gone on recently is like, I know a ton of parents that are pulling their kids out of public school. Yeah, there's like a huge exit from that system right now, which is great. It's good.
Yeah. It's time to reform it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, rethink it.
Yeah. Okay, well...
But, all that to say, less money going to the government means more money in your pockets, means you can have more control over things like this.
Okay. All right, well, we've been like railing against like all the things that are wrong. We got to start talking about things that we can do moving forward. So,
yes, absolutely.
Okay, one thing we can talk about is RSPs.
Okay.
Why do people love them? Why is this like a terrible way to save? And I'm guilty of this. I did the RSP thing as well.
So did I. I'm guilty of it too. So, but the good news is about going through it and figuring it out and making that mistake. And here's my philosophy. You either win or you learn. There's no such thing as losing unless you give up.
Yeah.
So you win or you learn. So I learned in that experience of RSPs to never do that again. Or for that to be the last option available as a way to put money somewhere where it's not going to be taxed right now. But it's not my first thing. Most Canadians, it's their first thing. Because that's just what they've been taught. It's been passed down from generation to generation to generation.
Yeah.
Banks and government love it. Everyone talks about it. How many people talk about what we call a TFSA? Or if you're in the U.S., it's called a Roth IRA. Tax-free savings account.
Yep.
Most people talk about it as a savings account. I put $20 a month into it, and then in 2 years I pull it out and pay for an emergency. That's how people talk about the tax-free savings account. No one talks about it, or very few people talk about it as the powerful tool that it is. Number one, it's got the same opportunities as an RSP in the sense that you can invest in the same types of things: mutual funds, stocks, bonds, ETFs, options if you decide to do that as well. It's got the same umbrella, can do all those things, except it does it tax-free. So all the growth in it is yours to keep. And when you pull the money out, it's yours to keep. You don't pay taxes on it. No one talks about that. And I think what happened, and I can't verify if this story is true or not, but given our system, the way things are, I could say, yeah, I could see that being true. In Canada, but just before the tax-free savings account came out and was available, from what I hear, the banks lobbied the government because they were going to call it a tax-free investment account, was the original name. Tax-free investment account. So banks lobbied the government and said, no, call it a tax-free savings account because we want people to come to us and keep it as a savings account. And so a lot of people believe that it's just that. It's like a savings account that you would have at the bank.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the potential it has to really grow tax-free. And so that's what it does. It's similar to an RSP in the sense that it has the same types of funds you can invest in. You can invest into it long-term. The difference is you don't pay taxes on any of the money that you pull out of it. So if you can grow this thing to $1 million, like we teach a lot of people to do, and maybe you get to freedom, 55, you got $1 million in the account. Every year, if you can do this properly, every year that $1 million will produce for you roughly about $70,000, $80,000, $100,000 of income
A year.
And you can pull that a year.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk, you want to talk about passive income. This is the real passive income here.
Yeah.
Every year, that $1 million will produce you roughly $70,000 to $100,000 a year that you can pull out tax free.
Which is a lot more money than if you were living off of fucking CPP.
$1,300 a month, which comes to what?
Poverty.
15,000. You're below the poverty line on CPP.
My rent is like $2,800 a month, y'all. Like, if you're living in BC, you're paying $3,000 a month, right?
You need CPP times 10 to live in BC, right?
Yeah.
But the governments have realized that, and what's happening is every year, not every year, but every little often, they're raising how much they pull off of your CPP.
Yeah.
So it just got raised this year. So you notice you make a little bit less money now. And here's the crazy thing about CPP. Not only do you, and this is what I forgot to mention, not only do you contribute to it, but if you're an employee, your employer contributes to it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, we're going to get into
it. You pay $5,000, your employer pays $5,000. That's $10,000 a year. And you get $1,300 a month. Great job, faithful taxpayer. And no one questions this. Everyone's like, no one questions it and says this is a bad idea.
You're literally, we're just like, please steal from me. I love it. Steal from me more.
Yeah, well, the government gives you with one hand, they take with two. Just if you can get that concept, you'll start to realize why I hate taxes and hate giving government money. But what they give you with one hand in the social system, they always take back with two.
Yeah. Oh my God. Well, I'm so glad that I found you. And because when I started working with you, I didn't realize that you're into all of this stuff. Because this is how I've thought for years. But if you don't understand the system, I'm a creative, visionary type person. I love money, but I don't understand. So even when you talk about this stuff, I'm loving it. I'm like, fuck yes. Okay. And I'm slowly starting to get it, but it's not how my brain works. I'm not a math numbers person. Yeah. I'm busy on building my empire. I don't want to have to fucking worry about this stuff. Right. But I know I don't want to be in this system. I'm sick and tired of being taken advantage of. And yeah, it's wildly frustrating, but this is a hard thing, right? Because we weren't taught this stuff in school and it's not everybody's forte, but this is why it's amazing that people like you exist and have programs and stuff for people to learn more and to unfuck ourselves.
Yes. I love that. Yeah. And so that you can not be the average person who struggles. That's the goal. So that you can, whatever you want to do, you pass it on to your kids, you can give it to charity, you can freaking leave it for your dog. I don't care what you do with it. Just don't give it to the government because they don't do anything good with it.
Yeah. For sure. Well, okay. And then, so what a lot of people do, and this is what I've traditionally done in the past too. And granted, I have a really great investment advisor. She's awesome. Yep. But investment advisors are in a system and they are kind of pointing you in the direction of certain things that are generally more on the safe side. Right. And so I've had an RSP plan for a while. And I mean, really, the only reason that I've been using RSPs is so I can fucking pay less money, right? So
so you get your tax break now.
Yeah, but then you get screwed when you want to take it out, right? But that was like my property savings account, essentially, right? Which I'm really going to regret once I take that money out and go and buy my house. And now I got all these taxes that I have to pay. So that was really stupid. And I knew all this stuff. I was like, ugh, this, I was like, this can't be the only way to do it. Like there has to be another way. And I know there are, like the 1%, the people who are like, have accounts in other countries and all of these things and shelters. I'm like, I want to know how that works. That's the thing that I want to be able to do as well.
Yeah.
And you got to get creative, but you actually have to like get out there and do the work and find mentors such as yourself that can help with all of that.
Yeah. Cause you don't want to get caught up in a thing where you do something that is illegal or you do something that you don't realize the government comes back and slaps you hard.
Totally.
And takes money.
Yeah.
Right. So you want to do it right. And so there's a couple ways to do it. You talked about it already. You talked about one of them being a non-resident. Most people aren't going to do that. So that's not one that we coach a lot of people do. There's few that we have that have done it. They'll move to a place like Indonesia or Turks and Caicos or somewhere in the Bahamas where the tax laws are very low. There's no taxes or very little taxes. And that'll be a tax haven for a lot of people. But most people aren't going to do that. Like I'm not moving down to Turks. We got a life here where we are, and maybe one day we'll do it. But right now, the kids are growing up and all that stuff. So we've got to figure out a way that we can live here and save as much taxes as possible. I don't think you're not gonna, unless you're completely don't make any money. Even if you don't make money, you're still paying taxes. You're sales tax. Like there's no way to get out of it completely, but there is a way for you to get a lot of your money into your pocket and out of theirs.
Okay, so a couple of different strategies then. So like Mike and I kind of come from like an entrepreneurial world, right? So like as an entrepreneur, you can structure your companies. Like for example, we're working on switching being registered as a corporate or as a corporation in BC to Alberta because you can just do that. And then already as a corporation, you're paying less tax than if you were like a full prop or somebody who is, an employee. Yeah. But now what is the tax difference again? The numbers? I forgot.
I think I don't know exactly what you are. I'll compare it to Ontario because I know Ontario's taxes. Corporate taxes, I think, are 12% in Ontario, 8% in Alberta.
Yeah.
So for every $100,000 your corporation makes, it's saving $4,000. And so corporations that are making millions of dollars, that's a good chunk of change you're saving.
100%.
Or even if you make $100K and you save $4,000, that's $4,000 in your pocket versus going to Doug Ford's pocket, who's the premier now, who's just doing nothing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, why not put it into your pocket? If you make $50K, that's $2K in your pocket. Why not? That's a trip somewhere.
Yep. And another thing that we're doing, I want to have this as a policy, and I know it's going to be a little bit tricky and like we might have to move some things around as we figure this out. But for Wild Remedies, I want to have a policy where we are working towards being a sovereign company, right?
Yes.
So what that looks like for me is we don't have employees, we have contractors.
Yes.
What really, really pisses me off is exactly what you mentioned before. So they've raised CPP taxes on, if you have a job in Canada right now, you're getting a huge chunk of your paycheck taken straight to the government. As a business owner, so by having an employee, not only is that individual having a big chunk of their paycheck taken off, and I'm also having to pay my accountant to do payroll and all of this crap.
Deductions, all that junk, yeah.
Plus, we have to contribute to that as well.
Yes.
So,
almighty business owner. Yeah, you got to give money to it too.
Both parties are being stolen from. However, if instead of being an employee, you came on, you registered. You don't even have to register as a sole prop. You don't even have to do that. Like I ran a company as a sole prop for years and never registered. You could register as a sole prop. You could even register yourself as a corporation. It's a little bit more money up front, but you could register yourself as a corporation in Alberta and be paying 8% taxes instead of what? 30, 50, whatever it is.
Well, so corporate taxes, so 8% corporate taxes versus probably about 12. Again, I don't know BC exactly, but you're probably you're a socialist province, so it's not cheap, right? And then so what you're talking about is the next step you're talking about here is dividends versus payroll taxes.
Yeah. So, but
that's where you save the 30-40%.
Yes, and dividends is really just for people who own the company, though, right? Like you can't pay dividends to contractors.
Technically, you wouldn't. But for example, in my company, I pay dividends out to 5 people.
Oh, you do?
I do.
Oh,
yeah, I do.
I love this.
Right. So I got. That's how I set it up here. So we got 5, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 contractors.
Okay.
4 contractors that just bill me every month, and then they do what they want. I say you can. I'll show you how to incorporate and pay yourself a dividend, or you could be a sole prop. You make under $30K, you don't got to collect taxes. That's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
We collect taxes. Number 6. How government gets its money. We collect taxes. HST, GST, PST, wherever you live. You're now a collector for the government, and you don't get paid to be a collector.
Yeah. Literally, and I got to pay my bookkeeper to keep track of all of that shit. And then we got it's just, are you kidding me? Like the slavery.
Yeah. It could be equivalent. Yeah, very equivalent to slavery. So by switching and here's what I love about contractors, and I don't just do it for the tax savings. I do it because I want contractors to gamify. I want them to be a part of the, I want them to be a part of the business growing. And so what I find a lot of times an employee mindset is very different than an entrepreneurial mindset. Mm-hmm. And as a contractor, you're more in the entrepreneurial mindset, way here. And I find entrepreneurs, especially if I say, hey, let's work percentages. Mm-hmm. People will work to move the ball forward a lot faster when there's percentages and stuff like that. When they kind of take it's within their control to grow, versus an employee, just pay me, I'm showing up, just pay me. Which, by the way, is your school system example again. Just show up. This day and age, just show up, you'll pass. You just got to show. You don't have to show up anymore, we'll pass you. It wasn't always like that. Mm-hmm. But anyways, I don't want to go back to the school stuff. But by putting them as a contractor, you skip payroll taxes. You skip contributing to CPP, which is a payroll tax. It's all left onto them. Mm-hmm. And then you can teach them how to incorporate themselves to save themselves and give them 30% of that away as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what we're doing moving forward. I literally had a conversation about this the other day. I was actually at a plant medicine ceremony. Super random conversation to be having, but I was like, so this is how we do business at Wild Remedies. Everybody is sovereign. We're only doing contractors. I will teach people how to get up and running because honestly, you guys, it's so simple. I think a lot of people are worried that, okay, if I decide to go into business for myself or, work as a contractor or whatever, that this is going to be really hard. It's literally not. I never had a bookkeeper. Yes, I had an accountant, but I literally, as a visionary, the type of person that I am, I literally just had this huge pile of fucking receipts that I would keep for the entire year. I'm much better at this now system. Yeah. But literally just kind of count up all the stuff. I'd have all my categories for what could be expenses in a spreadsheet. I just fill it in myself and send it to the accountant. And that's that. It's really simple. You don't have to worry about H&R Block. You don't have to, it's really, really simple.
On the downside, it's literally the tick of a different box.
Yeah.
That's it. Honestly. They tick a different box that says dividend versus payroll.
Totally. Yeah. And, if you're making under $100,000 a year or even $200,000 a year, just a sole prop is sufficient, right? To already save an insane amount of money on taxes.
Yeah. Because you're writing off your cell phone, you're writing off your internet, you're writing off your computer. I went on vacation with the family. I made it part vacation, part business. So I wrote off 60% of that vacation through the business because we did some pictures. I met with some business owners on that trip, for lunch, which I was going to do anyways.
Yep.
But now because it's under the business, I get to write off over half that vacation, where an employee doesn't get to do that.
No.
And all of a sudden, all these lifestyle things that you have that you pay for as an employee, which by the way, you pay for with after-tax dollars, which for example, let's just say you're taxed at 25%, you have a $100 cell phone bill, it's actually $125 because you got to pull out 25 for taxes.
Yep.
Whereas a business owner or even a sole prop, this goes under the business now because it's used like almost 100% for business and got some personal stuff, but business takes care of it. It's $100 pre-tax. Right? You start to do little things like that start to shift how much money you give in taxes versus how much you keep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, hopefully more businesses kind of start to understand this too. Like I feel like a lot of business owners too kind of get caught up in the system. And I asked some of my friends with businesses that hire employees, and I'm like, why? Like, why are you hiring employees? Like, why aren't you getting people? Like,
because that's what my accountant tells me to do.
Exactly. Right. Like,
that's what my accountant tells me to do.
This is the way that you're supposed to do it. And I'm just like, no, you don't have to do it that way. You can do it however the hell you like. Like, we as individuals who are part of a system that are being stolen from need to get really creative and take back our power. And you don't have to ask permission. You can just do it. You want to do it in a legal way, but there are ways to do it.
Legally do it.
And it's simple. And you get to teach people along the way how to be sovereign, right? Like, how cool is it, like, to have an opportunity to have, a 20-some-year-old kid come to you and, want to work for your company and be like, cool, we can absolutely do this, but here's how we're going to set it up. And you're going to learn how to do this along the way. It's powerful, right? So, like, as businesses, we can be part of that change.
You ready to blow your mind? Ready for this one? I don't know how many people know this or don't know this. I figured this out. And here's the funny thing about accountants. I love my accountant. But I have had to go to him and ask him questions to figure out if I could do things right or wrong. And then when he says, yeah, you can do it that way, I always ask, why didn't you tell me that?
Seriously.
Why did I have to ask to figure that out? Anyways, that's what I say. So here's one. Business owners who have kids. Okay, this is for those of you that have kids. Did you know you could pay your kid up to $12,000 a year tax-free?
You told me about this. Okay, explain.
About that? Okay.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 kids. I've got 3 girls, and here's the great thing about this day and age is I use them in my advertising. Okay. So I use them in my posts. When we go on vacations, we take pictures and different stuff. I use that on my social media because social media is how I get clients. So, this is how by reaching to the government, they'll do an office clean here and there. And as I get older, I'll give them more responsibilities. But I can give each of them $12,000. So that's $36,000 of my income, and it's tax-free. Government can't collect any taxes on it. So here's what I do. I give it to them. Obviously, they're young. They're 9, 7, and 5. So they're young.
Okay. Yes.
I use it to pay for their clothing, food, extracurricular activities, all tax-free. And then when I submit my taxes at the end of the year or go to do my taxes, $36,000 of it is written off, but it got used within the family.
Chef's kiss. Like, that is that is beautiful. Right? That is absolute genius.
So we do that.
See, guys, and I love the creativity of this too, right? You can get really creative. One thing that, like, I worry about though is the government gonna catch wind to this, right? And like, I'm always
they know. It's not like they don't know about it.
Yeah, but it's
within the tax code
down, right? It's like, I feel like they're every opportunity they can to keep us poor.
Because if they were to bring that down, for example, because the way it works, here's the system behind it. Here's how it works within the tax code, and this is for anybody. This is for you, for me. This is for the first $12,000 is not taxed, right? In our tax code, the first $12,000 isn't taxed.
Yeah.
Right, and that's how they have it written now. So that's what we're taking advantage of. Is just the tax code to pay 3 kids up to $12,000 each per year, tax free. And because my business, it becomes a write-off for my business. The business doesn't pay taxes. They don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
And because we use a part of that money to cover things like, they're investing, their clothes, their extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
All that stuff adds up, but because we pay for that out of their money, I don't have to pull as much money out for myself. I don't got to pull all that extra money out and pay taxes on that because of the way we've set that up. And it's just it's the way the tax code is. You don't need to be a business owner to do it. You can just make $12,000 a year. You won't pay any taxes.
But I'm wondering,
as we're recording this, that could change.
Well,
as
but
we're recording this,
like, can they just change the rules at any time? Right? Yeah. See, that's what.
I mean, there's supposed to be a whole democratic process, but
which there isn't.
Yeah, it's
nobody fucking voted for this. Nobody voted for theft. No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, they can, will they? Who knows? They have in the past, for example, TFSAs. When it comes to tax-free savings, there is a limit to how much you could do per year. I think right now it's about $6,000. They have changed just a little bit, but roughly about $6,000. When the conservatives were last in, they had it set to $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
Liberals got voted in; they brought it down to $5,000. Just change it on the dime like that. So yes, it can change like that.
Mm-hmm.
This specific tax code has not changed in many years. So it would be hard to say we're going to tax poor or broke people. That's political suicide. So I don't see them changing it because the media would literally go out and say, so government wants to now start taxing broke people who make under $12,000 a year.
Yeah,
political suicide. So I don't see them doing it.
Mm-hmm.
So we get to take advantage of it if we understand the code.
Right. Well, and then speaking of like politics, so, even though I'd say democracy is essentially just a total joke in a lot of senses, if there were, like, is one party more favored? I mean, I definitely see this a lot with Pierre Poilievre and what he's been talking about on his platform. He's, all about like, hey, government is too big, right? Like we need to dissemble some of like the federal government, which I'm just like, fuck yes. Like he's definitely got my support there. I suppose with more socialist parties such as like the NDP, and I mean, the liberal government is literally just completely socialist at this point now.
This sort of liberal government is,
that's generally where it's like more taxes, right? And the conservative side is
generally
less taxes. Okay.
Yeah, now that the conservatives are off the hook. They've allowed it to stay.
They all.
I'll give you an example. Here in Alberta, provincial taxes used to be a flat tax, 10% across the board. Whether you made $10,000 or you made $10,000 was tax free. Whether you made $20,000 or you made $200,000, it was 10%.
Cool.
And that was Alberta's way of saying you pay your fair share. If you make $200,000 at 10%, you're paying $20,000. If you make $20,000, you're only paying would only be $1,000. That's your fair share. That's tax fairness. The more money you make, the more taxes you pay at this tax bracket. NDPs got voted in for one period when they got booted out right away. They changed it. They said now it's 10% for the first 150, and then the next tax bracket's like 12 and 15. They added more brackets.
Right.
They're an example of a party that will tax you and take more money for their ideas, which have been proven to fail most of the times. Another thing you'll hear them say, and this is a political move, you'll hear people say, we're going to tax the rich.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
How many times have you heard them say, the rich can afford to pay their fair share? I mean, political, here's what they're saying, okay? And all you people out there that are T4 employees or W2 employees, you got to really listen to this. The rich and the wealthy and the business owners know how to put their money in places where we're not taxed. I'm literally telling you right now. I'm telling you a bunch of ways to do it.
Yeah.
When they say we're going to tax the rich, what they mean is they're going to make the T4 employees, aka employees of companies, pay more taxes. That's what they're saying. Whether they know it or not, and I think they do, and it's just a talking point. We're going to tax the rich. It just catches people, it tingles people really nicely. We're going to tax the rich more and give it to the poor. The old Robin Hood approach.
Yeah.
We know where to put money where they can't get a hold of it. And I don't know if they know that. They should know that. It's within the tax code. It's legal, all that stuff. I think it's just a talking point. But NDP, you'll hear it always on an NDP. You'll hear it on the Liberal platform. conservatives tend to be more fiscally responsible and tend to reduce taxes. Not always, but they tend to reduce taxes, to answer your question. So, but a lot of times they don't reverse what has been done previously. That's the thing.
That's the thing, right? Like there's still that aspect of greed.
They're keeping liberal values is what I say. Conservatives keep liberal values these days. And to my point, we got a conservative premier now. They haven't changed the tax code. So you still got your tiered taxes now, where I think, why wouldn't you come back and bring it back
Come on, Danielle. Get it together.
Danielle, let's do it.
Yeah.
And if you live in Canada, let's be honest, our conservatives are liberals.
For sure.
We just call them conservatives. American liberals. I was down in California, and it felt like Canada, it felt like Alberta in terms of taxes, in terms of the environment, in terms of what's going on in schools. All that's going on here under a conservative government still.
Totally.
And they've been liberal for years. And so, we call them conservatives, but they're liberal conservatives.
They are, for sure. And I mean, yeah, it's Canada though, right? Like Canada is...
Yeah, like would you ever have a platform saying debunk or defund healthcare in Canada?
Right.
Like your head would be cut off.
Yeah.
In the U.S., the liberals don't. Well, some liberals do talk about getting healthcare funding, but a lot of liberals still don't believe in universal healthcare down there. Our conservatives wouldn't dare take away universal healthcare. I'm not saying we should.
Yeah.
But I'm just giving you an example of we call them conservatives, but they're not. So will they do better if Pierre gets in? I think he will reduce things like carbon taxes. I think he might help us set up an environment. I don't think government has the power to do a lot of things. I think they can set up environments where things can change. I think he'll put Canada in an environment where we will become a more prosperous country. And maybe if he's in long enough, that's where he starts to reduce taxes.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely wild to me that they're increasing taxes at this very point now too, where we're in a recession. Like, those are some evil mofos when that kind of stuff is going on. Like people are literally losing their homes and they're like, oh, you know what we should do right now? Increase CPP.
Yeah. Increase CPP, increase the carbon tax.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah. What are they're tripling the carbon tax. Triple.
Welcome to Tax Canada. And as long as we sit here and do nothing and continue to give them our money, it won't change. I
mean, I'm all for just straight up revolution, like y'all. And I think this is kind of happening in the UK. Like, didn't people just stop paying taxes? Everybody just I don't know how to get everybody.
I don't know about that one.
But like,
because here in Canada, you couldn't just do that.
Well, all agreed. We're just not going to give you people our money anymore until you learn to be responsible. Like, we need to disseminate certain aspects. We need to figure out what is actually viable. And you guys are doing a real bad job with our money, and it's our money, and we don't want to give it to you anymore. Like,
I agree 100%. But they've got it set up as a system where they take it off your paycheck before you ever see it.
Well, and this is why
you'd have to change all that. And no government's going to let you change that. No government's going to let you change that. The way it works, though, we can all become business owners.
Yeah.
And if you stay with the cash system,
yes,
which is going away, if you keep the cash, and say a cash system is where we keep a little bit more control. Now, I'm not advocating we don't give our taxes, but what I am saying is when we have more control, we get more leverage. And when we have more leverage, these guys behave differently.
Yeah. Well, and then what's your thought on, I mean, like, in the tinfoil hat, quote unquote, community, really the people that just actually know what the fuck is going on. The whole thing about the digital currencies. And I mean, like, we already are a digital currency. Like, I never have cash. I literally never have cash. Like, we take cash sometimes at markets and things like that. But like, do you foresee disaster with the way things are moving there?
I foresee control.
Yeah.
I foresee you having less control. Listen, I get digital currency. I use it all the time. Just because I love the elevator doesn't mean I don't want the stairwell. Just in case there's a disaster, I want the stairwell too.
Totally.
So I think a society that has both is the best balance of things. If we go completely 100% digital, like it's, conspiracy stuff. You could see these guys having control over stopping your money from moving around.
Yeah.
It's not hard to fathom that, and we've seen it happen. Happened about a year ago.
Yeah.
Canadians got their bank frozen because they supported something that the government didn't support.
I was literally just going to bring that
Digital
up.
Currency.
So I was definitely a supporter of that movement because it was not a racist movement. It was standing up for our liberties.
There's people who are sick and tired of it, yeah.
I heard that this was starting to happen. So I went down to the bank and I was like, I would like all of my money in cash right now. And they looked at me and they were like, what? And I was like, empty it, all of it.
Yeah.
So I come home just like
a pile of money
I've ever seen in my life. Bought a safe, threw it in there, and I felt so like, it was empowering. It felt good, like I had control. If everything is digital, I mean, we very much
you wouldn't do that.
Of having a similar situation that's happening in China with the social credit score system. And, a lot of people think that, that's all bullshit and that's, tinfoil talks and whatever, but it's very, very real. It's very real. And it's already happening here. We have a lot of people we're seeing now with this interference that's happening with the Chinese government here in Canada. Like they're monitoring their people who are now Canadian citizens, but they're monitoring them here. And there's propaganda and all the stuff that is moving from China into Canada. And we have a government right now that is kind of on board with all of this stuff, right? So it has infiltrated. So we need to be very, very mindful of this sort of thing. And there are digital ID programs and stuff that are starting to, that are being put forth through our banking systems. And it's all going to be posed as, oh, this is more convenient and better for you in all of these different ways. But it's not. It's just another way to reduce our sovereignty, which is really quite frightening.
It always usually comes in the form of convenience. That's usually how it's pitched.
Yes, of course.
The vaccine was convenience. Protect you from COVID, protect you from giving it, stop the spread.
Yeah.
So we could open up society. Well, it's proven not to stop the spread at all.
No. Well, but I mean, to be fair, in the beginning, yes, we know vaccines, traditionally are used to stop disease and whatever, but this was just not that, right? So I understand why people in the beginning were like, oh, yeah, this makes total sense. But, with everything that's now coming out, I think it's just important to question a lot of those things more closely moving forward. And that comes down to everything from every type of system that there is out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. On that note, I mean, we've gone over time now. This was so much fun and enlightening. I hope some people have gone away with some tips, but I'm assuming that most people listening are going to be like, oh my God, Kay, this is a lot. Like, I don't know where to start. If you're like me still, I mean, like I work with Mike personally and I'm slowly making the changes. It's not like something that you can just do overnight. I mean, like if you're really into it, you totally could, but how can people learn more? How can they learn about what you do or maybe work with you? All of those good things.
Yeah. Simple place to find me, moneycoachmike.com.
So easy.
Right there. That's it. moneycoachmike.com. From there, you can connect with me. If you're someone in debt, let's get you out of debt. If you're out of debt, let's get you now building that $1 million empire. If you're a business owner, let's get you saving taxes. And even if you're not a business owner, we can show you how to save some taxes. But business owners have the biggest advantage in keeping more of their money and paying less taxes. So if you're a business owner, let's get you doing that.
Totally.
Every age and every stage of where you're at here, we've got a solution here to help get you to that next stage. But yeah, that's where you can find me. Free training there called the 5 shifts to getting debt free. So most people are in debt. That's the thing, right? That's what we got to realize. This is a lot of people are in debt. Once you get debt free, you start to realize your money is disappearing because when you got more money, that's where they take it. So most people, it's about getting out of debt, and then it's about once they're out of debt, taking that money and using that to build wealth tax free maybe to start a business, tax savings, all that there. So that would be the tax haven.
Yeah, honestly. And you guys, like, best money I ever spent, you know, the little bit of an investment working with somebody like Mike. I mean, because you were like, we're going to get you personally paying no tax, and then we're going to reduce the amount of tax that you pay in your corporation. Like, I had to go to the bank last year, you guys, and write a check for $27,000.
I did that. And that was my awakening when I did that. That was my awakening.
Furious. And I remember the little bank teller, she's like 12, right? Like, I don't know what's going on with the banks lately, but like they can't hire anybody over the age of 12. It's so weird. And they literally have no idea what's going on. Yeah. And I walk in there and I'm writing this check and I'm like, you know, I'm not taking it out on her. She literally has no idea what's going on. She just, you know, punches buttons and whatever. Yeah. And she looks at me and like I slide this check over to her and she's just like, oh, like she saw where it was going, right? And she felt for me. We had a little moment there. And I was like, yeah, girl, this hurts. This hurts.
But you know what someone will say to you? You know what someone's going to say to you? If you're paying taxes, at least you made money.
My dad says that all the time. And I'm like,
mantra of the middle class. That's a mantra of the middle class. If you're paying taxes, at least you made money.
You should know out of anyone, right? Like, geez, I'm going to make him listen to this. I don't think he's ever listened to any of our podcasts. Dad, you better be listening to this fucking podcast.
But yeah, that's the mantra of the middle class. If you're paying taxes, at least you made money. And I get it. Like, we're all going to pay. If you live in Canada, there's two people. There's those who are going to pay a lot of taxes, and then there's those of us who are going to pay a little bit of tax because we found all the safe havens, we found all the ways to reduce it, and I'm going to pay a little bit of tax this year, but I'm not going to pay that. I've made more money this year than I've ever made, but I'm not going to pay that $27,000 that I paid 3 years ago when I only made about $80,000. It was that year the awakening happened for me. And I said, I kind of knew some stuff before then, but when that happened, I was on a mission. I said, I'll never again pay taxes like this.
Never again.
Never again will I pay taxes like this.
That is the vibe, you guys. Everybody who's listening right now, that is the vibe moving forward. And on like a spiritual and energetic level too. So like in human design, we're moving towards this new paradigm where we are moving away from the collective and more focused on the single. So this is where I'm seeing like, okay, like the contractor roles, all of these things, like people are looking for that independence now. And so it's not about not taking care of your family and your community and all of those things. And, you know, paying a certain amount of taxes is still important. Like we need to have roads, we need to have all of this, but we've just gotten to a point where it's incredibly excessive. It's hurting people and we need a better system moving forward. So this is the solution for a lot of folks. I've absolutely loved working with you. Still have lots of work to do, but yeah, I'm stoked. So
awesome.
Guys, make sure you reach out to Mike if this is firing you up. And hope you guys enjoyed.
If you're fired and inspired and you're ready to become a millionaire and keep more of your money to help your family, your kids, your relatives, whatever, to keep keep you guys going, then let's talk and have a conversation. If we can help, I'm going to walk you through how. If we can't, I'll just tell you that too. There's no pressure. But I can tell you this: you giving more money than you have to the government ain't going to change your life.
It's not.
But keeping it will.
Love it. All right. Well, thanks so much, Mike. And I hope everybody is inspired. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Bye for now.
Thanks so much for sharing your time and energy with us today. We'd love to hear your feedback on how our podcast has impacted your life and are also open to suggestions for new and interesting topics. Please leave your comments with a quick review to help us grow this magical community of wellness warriors and light workers. Every month, we select one lucky reviewer to win our big magic box containing all 3 of our beautiful magic lattes. To connect with us further, check us out on Instagram at wild_remedies. Thank you again, and see you at the next episode.